So hello everyone, we're here on another job. Thought we would welcome you to come on in the house with us. We're doing 2 furnace checkouts, seasonal maintenance checkouts on the furnace out here in rural Ohio, and thought you'd come. It's an older log home, kind of some interesting effects. So just also want to make mention prior to us getting inside of here, I already went in and did a visual as far as the location of the furnace, things like that. With that said, there are some things that they're older furnaces and how I go about doing it. So I just thought I'd share out here. We're going to take a look at these furnaces and make notes of things that need to be done. There were some ductwork issues that I saw right off the bat and some missing pieces. So in case I overlook something and you say, why didn't he mention it? So I thought I'd mention it now, and after the fact we'll write it out as an itemized list for some of the things they need to upgrade and do. So all right, we'll see you in a little bit. They haven't been off for a while. So here we are, we're inside here. Now what's kind of unique in a lot of these different applications out in a residential home or in a log home, meaning that some of the placement of the vents and where the furnace is located could be unique or a little bit different than what would be outside the norm. This furnace is in a closet, which is somewhat normal, but it's also in a bathroom closet. We got it shut. We're kind of tucked away inside this little area. But the ductwork and everything else, because the log home obviously has logs, so different positioning returns. Like just on the other side of this wall here, this drywall, there's the main cold air return that's pulling into the open area. Not always. It's just a little more difficult to get your cold air returns and placements in log homes. At least that's by my experience. It takes a little more delicate time. This is our first time being here. With that said, so we're just getting the first time look on this too. So when you do a furnace inspection, you get a visual first, use your eyes, just kind of see the typical installation, some of the missing things, some of the things that could be helpful to the homeowner before you actually start getting the inspection started, like checking the gas line, burners, sensors, electric, and all the good stuff like that. Like for example, like this here, this is a condensate trap. It's not the end of the world, but there is a top on this. It's not here. So there's certain things you got to use your judgment. And with you, if you're in the field, you've been in the field for a while, you got to use good judgment to see, does that make it functional? Is there possible, with it not having that, what's going to happen? You got to be able to overlook some aspects and not be perfectionistic when a furnace, you're dealing with a furnace that's 20 years old, and you got to know what to do and not overthink it, but you want to make notes as you go along. So that's one thing. So we're going to get started here. It is running, so what I'm going to do is I'm checking, looking at the burners right now to seeing how they're burning. It is a propane furnace, so actually just reached temperature. But the burners is a lot of times can tell a lot. Dirty burners to the fans blowing to see the any disruption in the actual burner itself and the flame, things like that, which could be possible cracks in the heat exchanger. You can see we got a lot of different dirt. Every furnace is different. Maybe for the sake of time, we usually just check like all your pressure switch ports, which are common problems. Checking, we'll manometer up, check the gas pressure, check the ports, check the condensate drains, and then down inside of here we'll start check our temperature rise, all the basic guys. But at the same time, we're here, just thought you'd give you a little bit of a inside of what we do. Down inside here is the blower compartment. Check for blockages, check for the weights, check for the slop in the bearings, stuff like that. Most of these motors are sealed bearings anymore. Obviously this is not new enough of a furnace where it's not going to be a variable speed. It's pretty dirty. If you look down inside of here, this is where it comes. You just got to think quick, think ahead.
you see a lot like this, all this dirt. So typically because of this, you know, we got some either filters weren't changed periodically, or some air where some dirt's getting through some of the ductwork. Meaning if you see this, typically you see a plugged blower wheel inside of here, which I'll show you. So I kind of just sliding there. So on that blower wheel is a lot of dirt, and then that blower wheel blows up to your coil up top here, which in turn usually plugs up your evaporator coil, which in turn makes it for an air conditioner to freeze up and cause restrictive airflows, and on it goes. So that's what maintenance is all about, to be able to foresee that, know what to do, tell the customer, get things done. It's just kind of the little things we do. A very common thing that even a homeowner can do, in inspections we always do, but generally once a year or every other year. This is a flame sensor rod, and this rod is it sits in front of the burner. The burner, when it ignites, the flame hits this, sending a millivolt signal back to the control board to let us know that we have, you know, ignition, meaning so it acts as a safety. But what happens, there's some oxidation that gets on here. You can see it here, and so this rod is cleanable. A lot of people, yeah, you can replace it, but typically steel wool, an alcohol, different things like that, a fine non-silicone based sandpaper will work. Some people, a lot of people, I was listening to this last job, actually I think it was yesterday, they if you Google it, it'll probably even show you to do it, because a lot of people don't have those items. And of course you can use they say a dollar bill. I don't know if a 20 works or not, but I want to see if it actually does it, just here visual for us all. You saw the discoloration, oxidation. I typically use my sandpaper, but there is a little bit of grit, and I wanted to see, because I'm not going to buy it. I'm not buying it. But you know what? And I'm not kidding, guys. It's cleaning it up. I was a little skeptical. Maybe it's the 20, not the dollar bill, but you can start seeing the shine. Looks like the oxidation is coming off. It almost feels like it is doing it. I mean, surely if you saw that picture, it looks a little bit darkened here. I'm a little more perfectionistic, but I think it would do. Homeowners, if you see this rod and it's flashing a flame sensor rod code, use a dollar bill. I think it'll work. I'm gonna do a little bit better and use what I use, so I'm gonna get out my sandpaper. And as I told you upstairs, we do some, use your eyes first, use your senses. We didn't smell any gas, so I think we're good there. But with our eyes, visually, I've seen two things right off the bat. First time here, doing a seasonal fall inspection. Right up here, let me get my light, a little better look. We're not connected into the ductwork there, so that's definitely a lack there. So we did an assessment, and we did a visual. Come around over here, kind of looking over here. We have on our condensate drain for the furnace side coming out of the trap. Looks like there was never anything installed as far as drain. It's not the end of the world, we're in a basement, but something we got to point out to them. It does start to eat away at the concrete and just moisture in the house. We want to get it to drain away. Just little things. You look here. Typically this is supposed to be 1/2 inch. This is 1/2 inch, but 3/8 ID inside diameter. For this size BTU, typically you want 1/2 inch, what's called for manufacturer. But like you said, a lot of these things work, and but we're just here to give them some of their options. Even if it's an older furnace, it's been functional. You got to use common sense. You got to be able to make good judgment for safety and for the homeowner. So we're going to tear into this thing right now. Off the streets. Tear into this furnace here. Looks like it's a little bit newer. Just if you want to look down here, see all this rust? This whole bottom's pretty much rust. what's going on, you know? That's what I'd like to know. Got no water up here, but I told you they're not, no trap, meaning there's no condensate is dripping on the floor here. I think it's running down the furnace and it's coming in the crack of this corner here, running and covering that. I mean, what does that tell us? That water on metal isn't good, but just down in the blower compartment, you can't really call it a built-in humidifier. By far, it's not that. You can't benefit from this. So we're definitely going to have to get this drained away. First time here on the job. I know I said that, but I just want to let you guys know that, you know, people have been out, you service them year after year. These are kind of a no-brainer, guys. So here we are. So we're going to tear into this. What I usually do is get a visual on the electric, look for spots, look for resistors, dark spots. Some reason I got a pretty bad habit of just looking at the insulation as it goes up inside of here, making sure it's, and then I go around, I usually just tighten these, even though you can do the wiggle test, just a habit. Upstairs we had some that were significantly loose. You always get low voltage issues. Check this, we'll check this capacitor, we'll blow out this trap here, the two hoses up here, we'll walk up here into the pressure switch hoses, check the wire connections here, check our gas pressure here, check our ground here. We pull the flame sensor rod, which is right here, we'll clean that, and start working our way out, looking around, seeing what's going on, check some amp draws on her, check the upstairs. Oh yeah, I got to make a note of that. There was some slop in the motor. When you have play in a motor, you have a little bit in and out, but up and down you want zero play. And upstairs we had a little bit of slop in the bearing. Everything's good here, no play in the motor wise. All these are usually sealed bearings. So then on these data plates, especially some of you new service guys out there, and you're brand new and maybe you shouldn't be on your own, you should be with someone if you don't know how to check a temperature rise of a furnace. But on the data plate, it'll give you a temperature rise. You just put your probe into the return and the supply and you subtract that, and that's your temperature rise. See if you're within the specs. You can tell if you have ductwork issues, you can tell if blower issues, and it can you know, if you're overfiring too much gas pressure, plug filter, things like that, and see if you're within the range. So anyways, that's what we'll do. And yeah, so on part of the inspection, especially on propane, you want to check the burners. These are little, what I call them, crossovers here, but you can just see this is all just rusty. Flake them off, clean them, wire brush them. But propane, you can see it, they rust out. And get this other one out. They all got to come out. I'm just saying this. So part of the inspection, guys. Be careful not to hit the igniter. You'll be in big trouble. Yeah. Now a lot of times when you convert these, manufacturer, if you get a conversion kit, comes with the new burners. You know, these are the burners for natural gas. The stainless steel burners, and they would be less likely to have this corrosion at the front. Don't get me wrong, I think you'd still get it over time. But here we're seeing this, and I know just by the sheen or the shine of it, this isn't stainless.